Hello everybody, it is me, Zachary, and I've decided to start a new series where I go over really ridiculous characters and my pitch on them if they were in a battle scenario, essentially. And I'm just gonna go and pull out of a hat the most ridiculous, busted character I can possibly think of. This is Nullified Null. Um, if you're not familiar, also you might be from the Discord. You might be. I'm putting this out there, so if you're from there, hello. It is I. It is I, Wiggs, the historian. I hope you enjoy the music I put on my channel because I actually put a lot of work into it, and I hope you feel something from it. It's artistic expression. Anyway, that aside, we're gonna talk about Nullified Null today and what exactly it is and what it's from. First of all, it's from the Backrooms. If you know what the Backrooms is, shout out to you. If you don't know what the Backrooms is, it is essentially a internet horror story where you are clipped out of reality and you are um, basically there's a great YouTube series by the one, the only King Pixels, who has an amazing story behind all of the backrooms and how it works. But this is going into the absolute depths of that story and how everything is worked and how essentially the backrooms is more than what you think it is. All right, you clip out of reality, you do a bunch of trials, and you are free from the other dimension you're sent to. Well, no, it's more than just that. So what Nullified Null is essentially, it is the tier, like a tier 0 character. It is a boundless tier 0 character. If you don't know how character tiering works, it goes from 0 to 11, and 11 is like an infinitesimal character who is so minuscule you can just easily destroy them without even thinking. And then it scales from, you know, 2-dimensional, and then when you get the tier 10, it is a 3-dimensional thing. So it's like you or me. And then tier 9, it gets a little bit more crazier. You go to guns, you go to tanks, atomic weapons, to things that can destroy half of a planet, to things that can destroy a moon, a planet like Jupiter. And then you have tier 4, which is an entire solar system, to a galaxy, to a universe, to a multiverse, and then to a giant cosmic hyperstructure. And then basically tier 0 is the almighty creator. It's like where a god would sit, essentially. But this is the only thing that can have the position of tier 0, and I am officially letting it be known today that this character is tier 0, and it deserves it because this is how you use boundless power, essentially. So essentially, to describe what Nullified Null is, um, so so in general terms, its real name is a Chinese Taoism of characters, and it's stated as woo woo. That's how you say it. That's how you say it, woo woo. But this character, Nullified Null, is an incomprehensible state that is beyond many different layers of the backrooms. There's areas known as true reality and corner cosmos and the glass sea, and these are absolutely gargantuan areas. So even just to describe like what the area is in general, so when you go into a level in the backrooms, it is essentially an endless spiral. The picture that depicts Nullified Null, the being itself, is just an endless spiral, and all these things that are in the spiral, all this energy that goes into the singular point, these are all just the levels in the backrooms that are swirling around a giant void, essentially. It's all the levels in the backrooms are this. And the ridiculousness of what this giant being is, it's basically, so it's hard to describe because it's a really complex thing, and we'll get into why you really shouldn't describe what Nullified Null is and what it can do, because it's bad. It's bad. So Nullified Null essentially grabs your sense of reality, which is everything from your perspective, and everybody has their unique perspective, which is its own reality. And Nullified Null targets that and clips you out of bounds, and no, which is essentially not just clipping you out of reality. It is nullification of your entire reality. It is completely dispersed of everything that you know of what reality is. It is paused and it's completely nullified, or is complete nullification of it from around you, from your field of view, from your perspective of reality around you. It is completely nullified and recreated as the Backrooms. That is how you end up at that point. And everybody that sees you go into the Backrooms just sees you leave. So from their perspectives, from their realities, it is that you vanished, and you will not be seen again until your corpse is found in the Backrooms. And that is how Nullify Null attacks things. He is complete, absolute annihilation of who you were in base reality and taken to its own home and completely dispersed of there. It is total annihilation of someone. And even if you want to question, well, they investigate the Backrooms. When you are investigating the Backrooms, once you find the soul, once you find not the soul, but the body of the person who was taken out, and essentially it's going to open up to these people once it's killed someone off. That's when Backroom starts its chain of events of attacking everybody else. So it's been a thing that's constantly been going, and it's been taking victims one by one. So when they investigate the Backrooms, the layout of it is completely unique to every single person that is in there, and that is why when one of the group sees something that none of the other group members see and they investigate it, it transports them to that nullified reality and they are gone from the other group members. So that is why it is completely inescapable. It is completely undefinable because basically it is an attack that is so prevalent, there's no escape from it. You are essentially dead, and there is no preparation for any of it. It literally takes you on a moment's whim. So that is what Nullify Null does as its main power, as its main attack. And you know, its true essence has all these different properties to it, but there is a thing that Nullify Null does if you try to understand it and its properties. You basically just gotta say that it can form concepts, it's beyond dimensions, it has all these things. It's the essence of non-existence. It is the essence of infinite structures. It is its own mathematical formula that is actually above all mathematical like equations. So it's beyond all like concepts in generally speaking. It is at the levels in the Backrooms. So in terms of mathematical like just absolute absurdity, it gets all of the cardinal directions of all numerics and takes them to the infinite degree, and that is like what every level in the Backrooms is essentially like the 8 cardinal directions of all characters and numerical values ever presented, and it basically distributes them infinitely in all those directions. So it's completely inescapable. It's basically the highest number ever is omnity, and so it's basically that just absolutely multiplied by an infinite degree essentially. So it is absolutely inescapable. But there is a thing that if you try to understand it beyond simple concepts and what it is, it will contract a disease on you that will cause you to be nihilistic and suicidal. You will basically be destroyed just from understanding this thing, just from even trying to make sense of what it is. There's no point to it because it will absolutely destroy you for trying. So it reaches out into your reality, your perspective of things, all of our perspectives of things. It is always reaching out to it and attacking it. This thing is essentially meta ascendant because a lot of people freak out about this kind of stuff, and they are scared about reality being kind of controlled by in the background by something. And this is that thing. This is absolutely beyond a lot of these things. And if you don't believe me, well, true reality is, first of all, the reality that it nullifies to take you away from it. It's your true reality, which is what I'm presently in. And the corner cosmos is, the farthest reaches of the backrooms when you're getting to the end of the levels and you're getting as far as you can. It is the absolute, really, like, okay, so it's the absolute pinnacle of it. So the cosmos to the backrooms is like fitting in a whole universe or like a galaxy in like a single level of the backrooms. You could fit that in the backrooms. See, this is why I said it's multiplied by the infinite degree of like all of the levels and all that. See how complex this shit is? It's very complex. Trust me, I don't know how I'm able to even go into all this, but it is essentially all infinitely sized. All of the levels are infinitely sized so that's why it's like multiplied by an extreme degree. So when there's corner cosmos, it's essentially cornering like all of the cosmos that could exist in true reality, and it's like fitting them in these levels essentially. So you could fit an entire galaxy, an entire universe, an entire multiverse, any structure, you could fit it into a level. It would fit in there. So now that that's aside, we also have the glass sea. So when you see those water areas in the backrooms, those are infinitely expanding, and the depth of those waters can just take you to absolute nothingness. So there would be so much water that it would just it's like, I forget how I described it. I described it in a way that made sense, but so yeah. So okay. So the glass sea is it is actually its own space. So the water in it is its own space, and it's encompassing all concepts of knowledge and living intelligence is birthed from that water. So it's essentially like a Boltzmann brain theory. And I know that's another crazy thing, but Boltzmann brain theory is like a sentient brain that casts all life in a timeline. That's essentially the idea of what it is. It is an avatar creation of a sentient brain that literally casts all life that will exist in the timeline, and that's how we came to be essentially. And that this freaking glass sea has space that encompasses all of those concepts, all of these brains that can ever exist. It has these things. That's why it's outside the origin of all things. That's essentially how it describes it. So the origin of all things is inside of this freaking sea. Like, this stuff is insane. This stuff is absolutely insane. But that is not the end of it, because there's more. There's actually more to this. So the Tao of what it is, the absolute pinnacle of what it is that, so the amount of knowledge that is encompassed in there is countless oceans that have known, unknown, knowable, and unknowable things, and it has the deepest layers of those things of all-encompassing ideas. I hope I'm not waking people up. Oh shit. No, but it's all encompassing ideas, and it's akin to an unnamed Tao, which is it's just crazy. But Tao means realm of emptiness and silence. So it's neither being or non-being. It's non-dual. It's all these things. So yeah, null is formation of all things, origin of all things, end of all things. Essentially, is what it is. But yeah, it's absolutely crazy. And yeah, and another thing that is also implied is that it also can resist everything that's created within it. So even though it's casting all these things, all this energy is resisting all of this as well. it does nothing to it. Jesus. Uh, Basically, the nullification, like again, the nullification of someone's reality is so thorough that continuity itself, and even like people who are writers, so if you scale like writers of comic books and whatnot, they can't rewrite the canon of events that the Nullified Null can create. So it's even beyond something that you would consider like a god of fiction or something like that. It doesn't affect it because it can't be understood, and it can't be, it is completely like off limits to be understood. That's pretty untouchable. Like, you gotta be unreachable to be boundless. You gotta be unreachable. You can't even be written about. So this is how thorough it is, and the erasure of your reality is so complete that when you go to the backrooms, it's only real to you, and everything else that exists for us to see, all of our continuities don't even know that you're in like an area like this. They don't know that you went to somewhere like this. They think you just disappeared. They can't even imagine where you ended up. So it's that thorough. I'm just reading some of this. This is it's an abstract creation, which means, and it's, this is another crazy thing that it touches upon. So like, even the scope of its creation itself, the things that hold levels together, they're these pillars. Basically, interacting with this thing, it will imprison you in what is its own meta narrative. So it writes out the events of the levels you go to and where you end up and what you're challenged to do until it absolutely kills you. And not only that, so the big creatures, first of all, there's humans that it is trying to basically create its own avatar of itself in the backrooms. It's trying to create this twisted humanoid looking creature that chases you, and it also creates, but that's, it basically, it's crazy how they this is funny, you're gonna get a kick out of this. You know those giant creatures that chase you in the backrooms, the giant very dark looking creatures that make those horrible sounds that chase you in the yellow rooms. So these creatures are known as bacteria, and you're wondering why. First of all, they infect you with a bacterial virus that instantly kills you, because it is legit the bacteria, the size of bacteria in the backrooms. So the size of bacteria in us is microscopic. You're essentially like in a giant human, essentially. So the bacteria in this thing are freaking ginormous, and it's chasing you. It's the giant monster that chases you. It's a bacteria. And not only that, but the humanoid creatures that are chasing you is essentially like a zero-dimensional like thing of energy that hasn't really existed yet. So it's something even smaller based on that. So it's kind of like I guess you could say like a smaller. And I don't really thought what that would be. I guess it would be like a smaller, like more microscopic thing of energy chasing you around. That's like humanoid. So it's like the size of a human. It's like a living atom chasing you. So it's kind of crazy. So these things are like ginormous, like scaled in proportion to like in our reality. Like these things are scaled much bigger than how they should be. So yeah, everything just doesn't really make sense in this, and that's for the better, because you don't want to understand this. It would drive you nuts. But yeah, yeah. So when writers of stories of fiction itself, their attempts to introduce nullified null into a cognizable description, such as myself, this is comparing it to a pathetic reality. So my attempt is pathetic. My 20 minutes has been pathetic. So yeah, that's pretty much everything you need to know right here. I mean, omnipotence, omnipresence, omniscience, tier 0. That's this character. I hope you enjoyed this. I'm gonna end this video here. Oh, one more thing before I go. So one more thing. The level it exists on is essentially, it dubs it as level ZH Null, which is the level past like the max numerical like quality that the levels have up to that point. It is at a level that is essentially known as level ZH Null, and the ZH, I mean, I would call it 0 hour, because once you go to that level, it is basically rendering you null completely and utterly, because you're gonna see the being known as Nullified Null. You're gonna see the spiral of what it is, and it's gonna completely, I would assume it's like the core of that void that it is, and it's gonna basically just like a black hole. It's gonna completely vaporize you and like who you are. So like if you reach this area, it nulls you completely from that reality it put you in. So if it does that, that means you could very well be erased from ever being, essentially. So you're just gonna be erased, that people won't even remember you vanished, because they won't even remember who you were. So I would imagine that's what happens, but nobody ever reaches there because everyone's just gonna die before they even get close to there. So you're never gonna even reach that area. So yeah. This thing is beyond what authors can imagine it being. This is Nullified Null. Wigs out. I hope you see me again.